What's up, all you devils and rapscallions? I've been getting back into Guild Wars 2, and I wanted to sort of make a little bit of a video talking about my feelings going back into it. And I thought, what better way to do that than to react to someone else's video? So we're going to look at this guy, Epic PLK, who made a video talking about, is it worth playing in 2025? I thought there were some really interesting points in there. I'm not going to watch the whole video. We're just going to kind of go bit by bit through it and see how we feel about the things, think about things that we can talk about with it. And yeah, let's check it out. Let's see how it is.
Right from the start, graphics. So this thing might feel weird at the beginning. You need to overcome the visual fidelity of the game, because the game is old, relevantly, right? It might feel a little bit dated in places. Not every location is as shiny as a modern game. But some spots look really good, and then you start to adapt to the gameplay and to the graphics of the game, especially in the new expansions. And it feels more and more enjoyable. Maybe other aspects of the games are so good that you're starting to forget about the visual fidelity.
So right away, he starts picking up on something that I think I've sort of been an apologist for over my time playing this game. And something that I think we should all sort of look within ourselves and see the truth of the matter is that graphics are really important. They help you suspend your disbelief and sort of live inside of the world that you're inhabiting currently. And they don't have to be hyper realistic in order to do that, but the stylization of things really matters and makes a big difference. And it's something that I always have a little bit of an issue with whenever I'm playing Guild Wars 2, and I think that I never even really noticed it until I came back to it this time. It just is kind of hard for me to take myself and put me inside of the world, to feel like I know and have reference for the things that I'm seeing in that world and can put them with real things. Now, I think that this game really plays to its strengths a lot in that way, and that a lot of times whenever you're playing it, you sort of stumble into things that are a little too fantastical or too cartoonish or too out there to be real. In fact, right now the event's going on of Super Adventure Box, and that thing, which I'll probably be talking about a lot over the course of this because I'm super into it right now, but that thing has this really spectacular sort of situation going on to where it becomes a game within a game and really makes you think about the fact that you're here to have fun and play. And that's the thing that I think Guild Wars 2 does exceptionally well compared to everything else that's out there in the MMO market. If you want to play a game that's all about being the best that there absolutely is, you probably won't have the most fun that you could have with any MMO in Guild Wars 2. But if you're here to show up and have a good time, meet friends, join communities, hang out with people, learn about the world around you, go exploring, go adventuring, do all of those things, that's where this game really shines, and that's where I think that people are going to find the most fun to have.
And let me tell you, the classes are where it gets interesting. Each one has a few specializations, and they can feel like totally different classes once you focus on specific weapons and skill lines. Also, many classes can use a bunch of different weapons, and each weapon gives you different skills. Plus, you have a hero points which you can use for the builds and different passives. So there is a lot of going on there, but you definitely understand right from the start that this game have a lot of experimentation potential for the building system, and I know for sure from the YouTube that there is a ton of different builds, and you don't have one or two trendy builds which are everybody playing, right?
So this is the thing that I think a lot of people really fall in love with about this game, is that whenever you're trying to put a build together, there's so much complexity available to you, but you can also just go online and pull something that is going to easily run through like all the content that you want. Whatever your power fantasy is, whatever your class fantasy is, you can absolutely make it happen for yourself. And not only that, you have to work for every single thing that you get. When you start this game off, you're going to be a very low-level adventurer, and you're not even going to be able to see these hero points that he's talking about. You're going to have like very few of them as you go along, but these expansions to your class that you're going to find as you get past level 80, you're not even going to think about those for the entire base game that you're playing through. You're going to figure out what it is that your class sort of does at its bare minimum, and it's going to train you through the game on that thing. And then as you get to a higher level, as you figure out more complexity that you can add to your character, the game is going to allow you to find different methods of playing your own character that you've been working on all this time, and making them into a totally different thing. Maybe from the get go, you've been using guns, or maybe you've been using daggers as a thief. And then as you get further and further into the game, maybe you start finding out that there's other builds that you want to try. Different weapons will change your skills, different skills will necessitate you to have different builds. Different builds come with more journeying into the world to find new hero points in order to flesh out that character more and more. And the game really propels itself as you're going into it. There isn't a lot of thought that's happening when you're playing a lot. And what I mean by that isn't that it's brain dead gameplay. What I mean is that there's no, what do I need to do today? Because there's always going to be something on your mind to look forward to. Whether it's going to be figuring out what your next spec is that you're going to unlock and how you're going to max it out and how you're going to use it and build it and what gear you need to get in order to flesh that out. Whether it's going to be what event you're working on currently, or whether it's going to be just what guild you're going to go and look at and see if they can use your services. You're always going to have something pulling you further and further into the game, and so it makes it very effortless to keep playing.
Now let's start the game and let's talk about questing and a progression system in the game. As I said before, the Guild Wars 2 has horizontal progression. What does it mean? Instead of the typical, hey, this is your next quest, go do that, collect these items, kill these mobs, you do basically the same, but with a different approach.
Okay, so let's talk about horizontal progression. This is like the topic that everybody loves to bring up whenever they get into Guild Wars 2. And it's so confusing to a new player because you think to yourself, well, I'm leveling up, I'm not leveling across, so what is horizontal progression? And that's because Guild Wars 2 didn't really know what it was going to be when it first came out, and it took a couple of expansions for it to really sink its teeth into it. The concept behind horizontal progression is actually really simple, and I think I can sum it up very well. Instead of trying to spend all of your time to increase your item level, you are trying to spend all of your time to flex on the people around you. Once you get to a certain point in this game, it's going to be heavily about your skill level and how good you can actually play each event, and significantly less about the gear that you're using. There are definitely little caveats to this, where some of the gear is definitely going to be better than other gear, for sure. That's obvious. That's going to be in any RPG that you play. But the main reason that you try to get the best of the best gear is to show off that you have the best of the best gear. Once you get to like level 80, once you start getting exotics, which are like your gold, lettered gear that you can pull out, you're going to be able to put together a build that's going to allow you to do basically any content so long as you have the abilities to hit the buttons at the right times and be in the right places and not stand in fire and do all of that stuff. That means that all of the content, once you get to a certain level, is going to be basically available for you to start learning. There's not going to be any, parsing into guilds or doing any of that stuff for the most part. You're going to be able to just get in there and start playing. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no reason for you to continue going. Some of the best content of this game is locked behind the fact that you're going to have to do these long, drawn-out quest lines to get the ability to even start crafting some of these items. Some of the coolest looking pieces of gear that you can wear, some of the best transmog that you can get your hands on are going to be long quest lines that are going to take you all over this world, that are going to make you find new characters and talk to people and understand the lore that's happening around you and why you're doing this and that, and probably even following some guides to get from place to place. You're going to discover new locations. You're going to have more and more fun as you play, and that's what horizontal progression is. It doesn't focus on what the newest thing is right now. It focuses on the depth of the world, the scale of everything that's happening. All the stuff that's happened before is still completely relevant. As you move from place to place, your level will scale down and up. The mechanics of the areas that you're in will be more dangerous than what the actual enemies themselves are, the levels of them. Some of the things that I think are the most interesting about this game is that depending on what your play style is, the areas that you're going to want to hang out in are going to change. Because if you don't like being really stressed out, some of the areas in this game will stress you out. Moving around in them is frustrating. The enemies crowd control you like crazy. You'll die a lot. Getting around is very difficult. There's a lot of scaling the environment that happens. Masteries, which are these things that you gain as you play through the game. You gain experience to a mastery bar that fills up and allows you to unlock new abilities and talents that have nothing to do with combat and have a lot to do with exploration and getting you around the world. They might allow you to auto loot. They might allow you to use a glider and fly around. They might allow you to spring off of platforms and jump way into the air. And these things are going to allow you to go and explore more of the world and find more things that you can do that were off limits to you before.
And yeah, that's basically it. Guild Wars 2 has ton to offer, from big open world exploration to dungeons, fractals, raids, and unique PvP modes. It might feel different if you're used to a heavy gear treadmill, but trust me, a lot of players love it that you don't have to re-gear every expansion. The community is super cool, the devs have this regular schedule to put expansions for years. And who knows, maybe it will keep going strong until Guild Wars 3 and after. If you haven't tried it yet, I strongly suggest just to try the Guild Wars 2 in 2025. Just start with YouTube, check all these videos and all these communities on YouTube about the game, and you will see the different approach of people. If you will come.
That's right. Check us out, guys. That's the best thing about Guild Wars 2 that I think that a lot of us have that the other MMOs in the space don't have. The things that you'll notice if you go and you play World of Warcraft and you go and you play, something like Final Fantasy 14, not RuneScape. RuneScape is incredible. That's the one that is different. But this game has a lot of people who play it and love to talk about it and love to think about it and love to sort of be out there experiencing it. There isn't a whole lot of that going on in the World of Warcraft zone anymore. People are here to do the content. People sort of expect that you already know everything that's happened in the past. No one is there to catch you up on anything. No one is like having these deep conversations about the lore of World of Warcraft. It's just not what that game is about anymore. It was once upon a time. People were enthralled by the storyline. People were following every single beat of it. But it's gone through so many changes and it's become so different over the years that the same people who were there back in the old days playing World of Warcraft really don't care about the Disney type stuff that's going on now. Guild Wars 2 is this unique experience in the landscape where the people who play it are interested in what's going on. They love to think about this world that they exist in. They love to think about how the new things that are coming out are going to affect them and how they're going to change their play style. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on with building houses lately, and the world has been sort of shaping itself around that. Every time you come in and you start a new guild, you're going to have to get a guild hall. You're going to have to figure out ways of building up your own little stake in this world. There's mega servers that have, massive amounts of people playing across them. So as long as you're in the same region, you're going to be able to play with anybody that you want to. This game is different than almost every other experience that you're going to have in the MMO experience, and it's free to try out. The base game is completely there for you. You can try all of the classes except for Revenant, and you can sort of get your feet wet and understand what's happening. And then when you start playing, you buy the expansions when they're on sale, and then if you don't play for 6 months, you can still come back whenever you want because there's no subscription fee to this game. It's really an experience that I think if you're an MMO player and you haven't gone through yet, it's super worth doing. And the lore in Guild Wars is rich, unique, and deep, and a lot of fun to figure out. I hope to see you guys there. I stream tonight, probably. I'll be streaming Guild Wars 2 quite a bit. If you guys want to watch, I stream right here on YouTube. That would be a great thing to see you all there. Come and say hi. Otherwise, go and subscribe to Epic PLK. He seems like a really cool guy. He's growing a nice community over there. Go and see what he's got going on and get involved. That's the best part about MMOs, is meeting each other and understanding what we do. So until next time, guys, see ya. Bye.